welcome back to the FCS Football Channel. And Manchester United have just lost 3-1 to Brighton. What can you say? Did we play well? Not really. But I don't think it's as bad as the final result makes out. But Brighton did deserve to win. And that's the long and short of it, really. Brighton are deserved winners today. I think look, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Ten Hag, or at least that's what a lot of people think, and that's kind of why it's a bit the fun now is a bit clickbait. Ten Hag out? Am I Ten Hag out? Absolutely not. And so we'll get that cleared up straight away. But I do think he has a lot of fault to take from today's game. He made some decisions right. I think Sergio Reguilón today was great. I think he was one of our better players today, to be honest. He proved to be looks like he's going to be at least an okay signing. However, I don't understand why we went to this diamond today. I don't. It goes against everything we're good at. We're building to become a team that's going to play 4-3-3 with two very high attacking number 8s, and we've binned all that off today to play a diamond to for what reason? To accommodate Scott McTominay. Marcus Rashford's better off the left. We've moved him centrally. We've played him alongside Højlund, which I think Højlund looked better against Arsenal than he did today. So I don't know if that's just that he played better against Arsenal, or Højlund just better as a central striker. But I felt like Højlund wasn't involved as much today as he was against Arsenal. And I think Martial had the same impact when he came on. He was quiet. I don't think it works. I don't think it works, this diamond. And I think that took away a lot of what Manchester United are good at. And look, I said it in the build-up to the game. If Ten Hag decides not to play Højlund, Pellistri, Pellistri's got to be asking questions. And I think he needs to be asking questions. How Pellistri can't get a start in a game where we've got no Anthony, no Sancho, and McTominay does. What has McTominay done to deserve that? He doesn't. Last season he wouldn't be our first sub. Yet he started today in one of our biggest games of the season so far. And look, we were speaking at the end of the game about our start to the season. Yes, we've had a difficult start. It's not it. Brighton are a very good team. Going to Arsenal and Spurs, they're hard places to go. But I think today, out of all of our defeats, I think today's the only one that we can. I can't take anything from it. The only thing I can say is at least Hannibal Mabry got his goal. And generally Reguilón was alright. But against Arsenal, you can see what we're trying to do. We're trying to play with those advanced 8s. And I thought we looked great against as great as you kind of can against Arsenal. And you could argue we got unlucky not to have a point from that game. This game, there is no takeaway. We played a formation and a system we won't use again. And it was just, there was no kind of, we had some players played well. Some players played well, but like generally we were just meh. And I think that's kind of my resounding feeling from that game. We were meh. No, I don't think there's many awful performances. It just wasn't good. And that is why Ten Hag will get question marks over this performance. I think talk of Ten Hag needing to leave is I disagree with it. The thumbnail is a bit clickbait, so you've been clickbaited if you want me to go in on Erik Ten Hag. He got it wrong today, going to the Diamond. And look, as I've said, he's been dealt a really bad hand. If you looking at the amount of players we're missing, and you count the first team players, Mount would start, Varane starts, Shaw starts. Obviously, Martinez did play today. Antony starts. So that's 4 guaranteed first team players not playing, not available to us. You could argue Amrabat could start. So while we were missing a lot of players and first team players, a performance to change this, I don't get. Players like Bruno play like 5 years old kids with mistakes. Bruno Fernandes was probably our best player today, alongside maybe Reguilon. I don't think Bruno Fernandes played badly at all. Realistically, I think the team is dysfunctional in a sense. I mean, we can start going to the player ratings. Onana, should he save that 3rd goal? Maybe. I think what we've got at the moment is we want to play a brand of football like Man City do, like Arsenal do. And we've signed Andre Onana to do that. However, we're not there yet. So we're kind of like a halfway house sort of thing. And we've got a lot of players out, injured at the moment. And generally, I do think after Bayern Munich, that is crunch time for Erik Ten Hag. We need to start seeing a better brand of football here. There is no doubt about that. Do I think these players are good enough? No, I don't really. I think McTominay certainly isn't good enough. Eriksen's good. I don't actually think Casemiro, based on this season alone, has been good enough. I think Casemiro on the ball is so sloppy this year, which is weird because last season he was great. I think it is an argument when you consider how many. 4 first team players is a lot. And when I say first team, I mean starting 11. That's just under half of our starting 11 out injured. That is a lot of players. Especially when you see what we're trying to do. Last year we watched, if you remember back to it, Brighton and Brentford. We got smashed by both. We tried to play the Erik Ten Hag way. But very quickly, he discovered we do not have the players to do that. David De Gea being one of those. And as such, we came away from that and we kind of played a pragmatic and a kind of halfway house between what we were doing under Ollie and somewhat Rangnick and what Ten Hag wants to do. And this year, we are trying to make that step back to playing how we properly want to. And that is going to take time. And when you have players that aren't good enough, trying to take that step with you, when you're up against top teams like Brighton are, like Arsenal are, like Spurs are, that's always going to be harder. And that's why I've got sympathy for Erik Ten Hag. We are missing regular first team players, some of our better first team players in Varane, Shaw. We are missing, the right wing spot, we're missing Sancho and Antony, but at the same time I blame Ten Hag, we didn't play a right winger today. So I've got a bit of sympathy for some of our results. Because the way we are trying to we're trying to implement a style of play, which we're only really able to play now. However, today wasn't good enough. And that's what annoys me most about today. I can accept us losing games, especially when we're trying to introduce a style. However, today we haven't done that. We've lost a game. We've been meh, and it's a system and it's a formation that we're not going to see again this year. So I just question why we've done that. With Onana, as I say, that could have been David De Gea today, really. Probably should have saved the goal, but he made a good save against Ansu Fati. I'll give him a 6. As a big club as Man United, it's not an argument to say it's because of injuries. I don't, if you agree with that. But after Sir Alex Ferguson found his glory again. The team is going backwards. It's not because we lost today. It's the performance in every single match. Look, I have to say, today weren't good enough. But that's what I mean. Last season, if we play like we did last season, this year, we wouldn't win the league. We wouldn't be competing for the league, no matter who you put in that squad. Because you look at the best teams in the world. None of the best teams in the world, apart from maybe Atletico Madrid, they don't play the way we did last season. How we played last season is good enough to get results and to be there or thereabouts if you've got the good enough players. But you're not going to win leagues because it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So we're trying to make that transition into playing a style of football we did last year to a style of football and that is capable of going to dominate games. And that there is a transition period there. We saw, but because of the club that Erik ten Hag has, the players Erik ten Hag inherited, and the ownership, unlike when Pep took over Man City, he could say, Joe Hart, you're gone. John Stones are going to buy you. And 3 or 4, 5, 6 players in straight away. And that was with an unbelievable squad. He had one of the best squads in the Premier League, Pep Guardiola, when he inherited it. David Silva, Fernandinho, Aguero, Sterling. Did I say De Bruyne already? Most of that Centurions team, Pep inherited. You look at what Ten Hag is having to do. He's having to rebuild the whole squad. The amount of players after that season with Rangnick, if we went through that squad, how many players will we go in? De Gea needs to go. Dalot isn't good enough. Wan-Bissaka's not good enough. Lindelof's not good enough. Maguire's not. Telles isn't. Fred, McTominay aren't good enough. We could go on. A lot of that squad is still here, and they have improved under Erik ten Hag. But we were saying they need to be sold. You look when Pep Guardiola took over at Man City, they're one of the best teams in the league, and he was given money to go spend on Bravo to get rid of Hart. Was given 50 million to buy John Stones. Following year, 50 million on Walker and Mendy. And he was able to build on what was already one of the best squads in the league. Ten Hag's having to build from nothing and completely change the way we're trying to play football. And that will take time. And it's annoying because last season we weren't able to do it. Make that switch like Pep was in his first season. This year, we need to see that change, that switch. And then, come the end of the season, we're still playing rubbish. Then questions have to be asked for me. If that makes sense. United players have lost the passion and pride. All they do is wake up, train, and wait for another disappointment. Again, look, I think we have to put, like I keep saying, this needs a bit of context. Context is needed. Diego Dalot. 6. Same with Lissandro Martinez and Lindelof. I'll give Reguilon a 7. Generally, I don't think the defence was poor. Don't think it was great. Average is a 6, so 6. Reguilon was probably our best player today, to be honest. He's definitely up there. He was everywhere down that left-hand side. Did their goals come from the left-hand side or their right? Not really. I thought Reguilon was fine today. Casemiro, I thought he was poor. He gets a 5. If you're talking about not having that passion in your belly, I'm looking at Casemiro at the moment. Performance levels just aren't anywhere near there. 5. McTominay, for him, it's a 6. He's just not very good, is he? He's just not very good. Eriksen, 6. And Bruno can have a 7. Generally, Eriksen, meh. But like I said, I don't actually think we weren't awful today. I think Brighton were good. And Brighton have a very good side. We were just so uninspiring. And I think that's what makes it even more disappointing. I think it's a easier pill to swallow when we play dreadfully. So you think back to Liverpool. When we lost 7-0. That was just an awful performance. Today, we were just beaten by the better team. We were beaten by a better team, better organised team. Like, did Brighton blow us away? No. And you look at the stats. That it kind of says it. We matched it. We had more shots. They had more on target, and possession. Brighton edge it. Like they've not. It's not like it's a 60-40 or 65-35% possession. They've outshot us completely. More on target. And I wonder how many of those Brighton shots came after at 3-1 sort of thing. Was it good enough? No. But we didn't get slaughtered. What I'm trying to say. Rasmus Højlund, 6. I'll give Rashford a 5. I don't think he's quite a 3. Generally, I think Rashford's his decision making just isn't great. I think Højlund should have had a goal. Rashford should have had an assist at 1-0 to make it 1-0, and then the game maybe is different. I think we got unlucky with that. I just think Rashford's decision making isn't there. His shot selection just isn't good enough, and that's been a problem we've always had with Marcus Rashford, to be honest. Martial, I'm going to give a 5. I like Martial. I cannot remember him touching the ball, to be honest. Palestri, 6. Garnacho, 6. You know what? I'm going to give Hannibal Mabry man of the match. He can have a 7. And Wan-Bissaka at 6. I'll give Mabry man of the match for 7. Got his goal. Generally, he got it stuck in, didn't he? But look, I was saying earlier on the watch along, or the match day live as we call it. If I give me a second. So this is our next coming games. Bayern Munich. That'll be a tough game. But after that, Burnley, Palace twice, Galatasaray, Brentford, Sheffield United, and Copenhagen. We expect to win all of those games. So from the 23rd of September to the 25th of October, we have to win every one of those games. And we want to see that transition from how we've played last season to a more obvious way we're trying to play now. those advanced eights, the fullbacks kind of tucking in, or one into a centre back to be a free, one into the number 6 position, or potentially it could be Martinez drop in there into this sort of shape. That's the sort of shape we want, like Man City play essentially, and that's what we need to see in these next few games. Something more akin to this, more akin to how we're trying to play, as opposed to what we are playing right now. If we do that, Ten Hag will keep my patience. But if not, things could get very sticky very quickly. But look, I back Ten Hag, I back the manager. I'm still very much on board with Eric Ten Hag. And I think anyone not is kind of missided. Is kind of just a bit annoyed. If I don't know how to say it. Just they're getting carried away. Like I say, Brighton are a good team. Arsenal are a good team. Spurs are a good team, and they're the teams we've lost to. Spurs and Arsenal specifically, we've lost them away at their gaff. It's so early on the season. How many teams did Arsenal? How many teams went to the Emirates and got anything last season? Not many. I imagine this season will be the same. Spurs, they look a lot better this season at White Hart Lane, at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Again, I don't imagine a lot of teams are going to go there and beat them and come away there from there with points. Especially given, and that makes it worse given that we should have had 2 penalties. Anthony missed a sitter. And then Brighton, get annoyed about it. There was so many questioning decisions. Let me give Ten Hag, I'll give him a 4. But look, that is going to be it from me. I believe, has the Newcastle game started? Has Newcastle Brentford started? It has. We're about 10 minutes into that game, so I'll let you all guys all go watch that game. But yeah, Hannibal Mabry is my man of the match. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button below. Subscribe if you are new and you haven't already. That would be greatly appreciated. And I'll see you all in the next one. In a bit. Peace.